What do our students learn? And how do we know how well they're doing? More importantly, perhaps, why do we study certain subjects in schools? These are all very important questions for any community to ask. It's our hope that this resource will provide some informative answers to these important questions. It might be best to start by looking at the historical role of public schools serving societal need before we look at present day and the future. From the moment the Historical Committee of 10 in 1892 established the primary course of study, the subjects we largely see today in schools, through the movements in the 20th century, the Sputnik movement, which led to a large increase in instruction in math and science, to serving on the front line in the battle for civil rights in the 60s and 70s, with efforts to desegregate, integrate, through busing, through granting greater access to public education for students with disabilities. Public schools have largely served the need of society and responded to societal need. But over the past couple of decades, there's been seismic changes in technology. There's been a flattening of the global economy, and a new call has emerged, and public schools stand ready to respond to that call. Machine intelligence, 3D printing, the gig economy, the automation, all of these factors have conspired and have forever changed the way we work and the way we communicate, the way we participate in democracy. It's really not unreasonable for a parent, for an educator, even for a community to ask what jobs will there be for our kids in 10, 15, and 20 years. Because right now, it's pretty clear the global marketplace is not so much rewarding how much knowledge you've accumulated and what you know. Right now, the global marketplace appears to truly reward what you can do with what you know. And that seems to be where most of the opportunities are for those entering the global marketplace. About 7 years ago, on November 28, 2012, the Board of Education in Madison had invited around 50 or so community members to participate in the first of three what were called education summits. And in those summits, the board had the goal of revisioning the work of the district, really coming up with a new vision for 21st century education. A lot of community members had fingerprints on this vision, and the meetings were framed by a question. And the question was, to what extent are we preparing our students for the world that they'll enter when they graduate? And perhaps a little bit more bluntly, questions emerged such as, is it possible that public schools in general are preparing kids for the wrong era and not for the modern era? So I think it's noteworthy that this question reflected the realities of their world being students, not so much the nostalgic whitewash version of some of the adults like myself in the room at the time. It was largely acknowledged that as the information age had changed the way we work, the way we play, the way we communicate, as you can see in modern day, the way we participate in our democracy, that this disruption presented a rather imposing challenge for those yet again on the front line. And those are our educators. So with a measure of courage, a measure of foresight, the Board of Ed began to move forward and develop a new district vision, adopted that vision, and the results, a vision for 21st century education that you can view right on our website, that combines rich academic content, knowledge, with, most importantly, the ability to develop in students their capacities to think critically, to think creatively, think globally, to communicate and collaborate, and to be self-directed learners. So if you get a moment to look at our curriculum documents, our district vision on our website, you'll see that this has formed the bedrock of all curricular documents, of student experiences, of student assessments in our classroom, with the intention to prepare students truly for the world that they'll enter when they graduate. So what do our students learn? And how do we know how well they're doing? Those are great questions. And it is our hope that this resource will provide information and demonstrate how our teachers and how our staff have 4 layers of assessment at their disposal to ensure that students are not just learning facts, figures, and information, but also how to apply knowledge in the classroom, how to apply to real-world problems, how to tackle real-life projects. So as you take time to look through this and inform yourself, I also encourage you to take a look at our curriculum documents and combine that with the assessment tools in this resource to get a full picture of how the Madison Public Schools truly has established a vision for 21st century education, which is to prepare kids for the world they will enter when they graduate.
The first area to explore in our Madison Performance Dashboard is called Foundational Skills. First, we want to make sure our students gain the necessary academic skills in core content areas like math and English language arts. What that means is that in grades K through 8, teachers use something called universal screens. That's a standardized system used across the grade level that helps a teacher to determine if a student is on track to be proficient in a targeted set of skills. So for example, with first graders, the English language arts screens might help teachers make sure that all students have met basic proficiency on foundational phonics and reading skills. We also include our Daniel Hand High School standardized assessments in our performance dashboard. The entire 13-year journey in our schools culminates with post-secondary placement as well as the most common college assessments, the standardized test. In Madison, these assessments include the Scholastic Achievement Test, or the SAT, University of Connecticut credited Early College Experience coursework, as well as the Advanced Placement, or AP tests. Madison students do very well on these standardized tests, routinely placing in their top tier of the highest SAT scores in the state and in the reference group. But we want to make sure that our students can do more with their knowledge. In Madison, we include a performance-based assessment in every unit that is written. That means every unit of study within a course. A performance-based assessment pushes students to use 21st century capacities and content in order to solve a novel and authentic problem. This type of assessment gives our students regular opportunities to integrate and apply what they've learned to a challenging real-world task, such as creating a product or performing a demonstration. Performance-based assessments are an integral part of teaching and learning vision here in Madison, as they are an important way to demonstrate complex thinking skills and application. This is one way we prepare our students for the world waiting for them after graduation. Periodically, throughout a student's academic career, they will engage in a component called Madison Explorations. Madison Explorations are creative and unique assessments that call upon students to apply aspects of cumulative learning across several disciplines to tackle complex problems. The explorations occur throughout a student's education in Madison, and they are interdisciplinary. In grade 6, students use math and science to explore the impact of changes in climates on communities. The learning takes place over a series of months, and the task itself can take up to 1 week to complete. Students are evaluated on the application of both content and capacities across the disciplines. In conclusion, the Madison Public Schools vision was developed to prepare our students to engage in a complex future. In order to assess the progress towards that goal, we must ensure that our assessment structure demands both the levels of thinking and the application of knowledge that demonstrates the complete profile of a Madison learner. The assessment system is developed with levels of thinking and application of content that inform the next level of work for both teachers and students. If you would like to learn more, please refer to the following slides.